As long as you add enough sand in there and pressure to push it down in the corners, you should work out pretty good. So, but you gotta keep in mind that you need precise temperature. Your humidity has to be taken into account for how much resin you be using as well, and then how many layers you're going to use. So, because I'm using at least 2 layers on this, I'm only using 50% of my resin, or 50% of hardener. And it takes longer to set up sometimes, depending on temperature, but ultimately there's still enough time if you just set it out in the sun that it'll fully cure. And we still got just a little bit of resin left over. Better have a little extra resin mixed up and waste it, rather than not have enough and then have to make a second batch right in the middle doing all this, because then this sets up, it gels up, and it's worthless. You can't use it. So we're just going to set this here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this like so. Make sure we have it upright. We know that arc there tells us that's upright. So like so. I'm going to bring that right about there. I'm going to go ahead and fold this over. We want some slack in the top surface, so that way we have enough material to get into all the corners. So we're going to put the edges right on the edges of the material here, kind of like what you do when you vacuum bag. Same concept. So I'm going to push that down in all the corners. Okay. We're just going to push it down in there. Alright. And make sure you're not zoomed in too far, this will be real shaky. But we're going to move over here to our sand. We keep this isolated from each other. That way we don't contaminate our material. And because we have that plastic layer on the top surface, it allows us to use the sand without it getting into the fiberglass itself. So, we're going to make sure we press it down in all the corners really good. We'll make sure we can squeeze it down into all the corners. And you can see it's taking up more material, so that means we need to get it all the way down in there. There we go. Taking our handful here. There we go. We can use the sand to hold it in place. And this sand's a little moist. Moisten the sand, and that will help hold together a little better. And if it's a little cool, I'll set it out in the sun. And the sun will heat up that sand and get it nice and warm. That way it doesn't neutralize the chemical reaction between the resin and the hardener. Okay. And then just press it down in there real good. Add a little weight to that, and that'll help squeeze a lot of the resin out of the excess resin out of the material. And you gotta keep in mind you only have about 15 minutes to do all of this. So, regardless of the size of mold, we won't have that much time to work. Now this is about, that's why this turns into be a process about 99% preparation and 1% of doing the work as far as putting this in the mold. So the more preparation you do, the more prepared you are, and the better quality product you have. So I take great pride in my work and how I do it. But that's what it takes to get it in the mold. And then we're just going to throw away these gloves since they're contaminated already with sand. And then when we're done, we'll have a finished product like this. We'll just loosen up the clamps and we'll pull it out. I did this one yesterday, so it's still a little tacky. And I'll give us a good week to dry to fully cure. So, but even so, it's still very strong. But all the pressure on this molding, this is the rear wing web or wing rib, and back here is where you're going to have your aileron and landing flaps. So, and your wing surfaces go on there, and the wing caps here, the webs on there. Same on the back side, except the back side will be a piece of a channel. It's more of a, have a flat end here. It'll be kind of V'd off a little bit here and here. So, but
10 minutes left.
So
4 minutes of disc left.
Okay, but anyways, this is the surface that really counts that we're looking for. We're not too concerned about the inside, but we use the inside surface to press it down in the corners. And then, because of excess resin and the little air or the excess material of plastic, we get these little ripples in here. So, but anyways, this is Matthew Coughtry with Coughtry Industrial, and I am the engineer and manufacturer of the A1 Glass Hornet. Right. Okay, here we have a finished product of the rear wing rib, and this is from the NASA was a 4314 foil, and then on the back end of this will be the wing flaps and ailerons. So basically I'm going to show you how to pop this out of the mold. We've got a couple of minutes left on the battery, so but what I do is we just kind of loosen up these clamps here just enough to bring them down. Loosen up the mold. I'm kind of doing this by myself today, so I can't hold the camera very steady. And then we're just kind of break it loose, like so. And you notice we took most of the sand out to make it a little easier, and we're just going to get as much of that back in the bucket so we can reuse it. As you can see, the mold is clean. It just needs to have the sand dusted out of it, clamps put back on, and ready to rock and roll once we get more plastic and material set up. And as you can see, we have a very good quality product here. It works out pretty good every time. It's just a matter of pressing it into the mold. It's a little on the chilly side this morning, so I gotta wait a while for things to warm up before I can start getting things in gear. Otherwise, I gotta turn on the heater. So, anyways, today is going to be about 74 degrees. Nice weather for fiberglassing. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing today. Well, this is Matthew Coughtry with Coughtry Industrial, signing out.